computer. Yep. Go for it.
Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to the public screening or class screening of our short film, Love at First Sight. It's an AMD 142 project for our class in phase of exploration. So this was, as I said, our class assignment, which required to do stop motion. It's also a group project that consists of me, Adrian, Candy, and Nick. Used to include Nick also. The project was supposed to be 1 to 2 minutes. Ours is 1 minute and 50 seconds long. And the main theme was attraction, which you will see from the film, but we included a baker that is very attached to his pastries. As for the team, this is us, and this is what all of us did. First, Adrian did the 3D background, was in charge of 3D background, composition, puppet modeling, and shooting. Candy was in charge of the animatic, 2D animation, puppet modeling, and shooting. I was in charge of storyboard, video editing, and audio editing.
Can you use the presentation? You don't have it full screen.
Yeah, but I think it's stuck as well. Like we're still on the introduction.
Yeah, we're still at the introduction. Did you open the slideshow?
Yeah.
We see everything.
Yeah, we see.
We
Everything.
don't see it.
Oh, okay.
We only see the first page of the slideshow. There's a button that says resume slideshow. Is the slideshow on the desktop?
One second.
Excuse me?
1 second.
Is the slideshow on the desktop?
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay.
You see everything.
Now we see it.
See it?
Okay.
I was talking about this slide while I was talking about the presentation or the actual assignment. And now
Yeah, this is where you left off. Yeah, go for it.
to Team Lottie Renegar. As I said, Adrian was in charge of 3D backgrounds, compositing. Candy was in charge of the animatic and 2D animation. I was in charge of storyboard and video and audio editing. And Nick was in charge of character design. All of us contributed in puppet modeling and shooting. Also doing the props, and also I helped out a little bit with the 2D animation. So a little more about our film. Love at First Sight is a stop motion animation short that explores the connection and attraction that happens between a baker and his or her pastries. It follows our main character, the baker, who is a baker owner who gets attached to his pastries a bit too easily. And when a customer walks in and buys the baker's newest creation, there's a mix of emotional turmoil that exudes. So the process of creating this film is divided, of course, in 3 parts: pre-production, production, and post-production. In pre-production, it's consisted of character design, storyboard, animatic, 3D background, and puppet modeling. The production process is composed of shooting and the 3D animation, and post-production is consisted of compositing, video editing, and audio editing. Now,
Oh, sorry, you can do it if you want.
oh no, it's your turn.
No,
Okay,
each
so
person should talk about what they participate.
Yeah, but it's Nick and he's not here, so we're just gonna go
Um,
quickly through his work. So this is the character design that he did. So we have the 2 characters. One is the baker and the customer who comes and buys the loaf of bread. So we wanted to have a very kind of cute and a bit more chubby baker with a very soft like attitude, and enters the customer, which is who is a bit more dark with dark clothes and tattoos everywhere. So yeah.
Moving on, the storyboard, which I did. I just wanted to say that the original character design for the baker ended up changing a bit. We added a mustache because we thought that it fit him better. The storyboard, first was a bit sketchy and gross, so I had to redo it and make it a little better. As you can see, it starts off with a blank page, which we ended up adding the title into it, and this is just the whole story of how it happens. This is also the second part. We ended up removing some scenes, but you will see which scenes we ended up keeping and not. Next is the animatic.
Gala, can you maybe open it and show it?
Oh,
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so that was the animatic. I just want to mention that the sound design is not the same as the final product. It was just to have a overview of the spacing and pacing of the animation. But it still fit accurately, so we decided to keep it that way. Yeah.
Now it's Adrian's turn. He worked on the 3D background.
So, I was modeling 3D in Blender, and I started with the counter because it's kind of the main piece. I didn't really have a sketch, but I just like went in Blender and started doing things. And it kind of became it set the theme for the rest. So everything is kind of angled upwards and it's getting wider on the top. And I try to keep basic shapes with hard edges and not to make it too complicated and like keep it stylized. I was inspired by just like by walking around in the city, and every time I saw things, I kept them in mind and added them. For example, the tiles on the wall, I saw them at a burger place, and also the lighting. I chose to do many different small spotlights instead of one big light to have like a nicer atmosphere. And I kept a pretty, how do you call it, monochromatic color scheme, or like very similar colors, and chose to set the world lighting to a dark blue, so it's contrasting the warmer light from the lights emitted from the spots. And yes, it's just a basic room with the entrance, that's important, and then some details, yeah, to fill the scene. Who's your puppet?
So
Ken? Oh,
yeah. So now for the production, we started with making the armature for 2 puppets. So you can see in the middle we have a drawing of the wires that we use. We used 0.7 and 1.2 millimeters, and we wrapped it eventually with foam to have the shapes, the basic shapes of the bodies, as you can see on the left with the 2 puppets. We have one that is a tiny bit bigger for the baker guy since he's a bit more big. And we also did the head shaping. We carved the head in soft wood. We did 2 heads for the baker for 2 different expressions. One happy / neutral and one sad / surprised expression, and one for the customer. But we eventually decided to just use one head for each and just do the expression on 2D because yeah, okay. So here are 2 puppets. After we wrapped them with foam to make them a bit thicker, and with the clothes that we use from old clothing things, and we also used the thin foam, skin color foam for the arms, also acrylic colors to make it a bit more soft and well better with the skin. We attached the feet and the head, and we finished it off to have those beautiful 2 puppets. Yeah. Also, we did for our scene props, we had a counter that was eventually edited on 3D, but it was just easier to when shooting. So we had the counter and an oven box made with cardboard, 2 gloves made with on the left made with clothes pieces, and our logo, which was made with gum and acrylic paint, and a little tray made with clay. Next. So here are some pictures when we did the shooting of the scenes. Yeah, we used a green background for later 3D. And we shot it on Tahoma 2D. So this is the 2D animated facial expressions, also directly drawn on Tahoma 2D. So here you can see the different expressions, and it adds a lot of it adds a lot of things since we don't have any dialogue or yeah. Now Adrian.
So to set up the different cameras for the different scenes in Blender, I first saved single frames of every scene. And then I could import them into Blender using the background image feature. And it's basically adding an overlay to your camera view. So you can move it around and position it to make the 3D match the 2D we shot. And then there was a lot of compositing to do, and I was more than I thought it would be. And like in this scene, for example, you see there's the 3D background in color. On top of that, in black and white, you can see the scene we shot with the green keyed out. Then the black part is a copy of the 3D background, masked in a way so it matches the top of the counter. So the top of the counter is actually original footage. And then it's matched to the front is matched to like the 3D is front. And I cut off the edges of the original one with the mask to make it match the horizon, the perspective lines. Yes, and this was done to have the, like, if I would have changed the entire counter to 3D, I would have had to mask out his gloves all the time, and there were many scenes where I had to do it to remove some shaky camera, but in this one I didn't want to do it, so I decided to keep the top original. Yeah, and then on top of that, you obviously need another copy of the original footage with a cutout of the arm to have it on top. Yes, here you can see some scenes. Bottom right, it's like there was similar stuff going on, like masks and layers to add the effect of glass. And in the shot in the top right, you can see that the counter is fully 3D, and I had to mask out. I had to copy it on top and mask it. So the baker stands behind it, and also his hands are on top of it while he's moving. And in the left, on the images on the left, you can see two scenes where I decided to add some effects into the background to express the mood of the scene, and also to the 3D would have been complicated in the dark one in the corner, so I chose to do it this way. Because while shooting, we had the zoom of the camera and the focus changing, which made the footage very hard to work with, to cut out basically. So I chose to do this stylized backgrounds. Yes. Should you? Ah, yes.
Before we go to the final project, I'll talk about the audio and video editing I did. All sounds that I used, I found on freesounds.org. And I had a little hard time finding suitable sounds, as they were, if I wrote in something broad, like door opening, the results would be very specific, like door opening, closing, that is wooden and also metal and also slamming. But if I wrote something that is more specific, there would be no results. But it worked out, and the process was pretty fast. And also for the video editing, it wasn't there wasn't a lot of work, as Adrian had already composited all the scenes and put them all together. So I had to just do the credits and some tweaking here and there. Now on to the final project. No. watch the.
Yeah. I don't think it's all photos of your job.
That's it. Any questions? Maybe not.
Questions. Any questions?
How did you do like, I see that you did the expressions like with 2D.
Mhm.
How did you do it? Like in After Effects or in Tahoma?
In Tahoma, and then we sent the pages to Adrian, and he incorporated them during the compositing.
Well, it looks really good. Like, really good.
We're very proud of it.
Good job. Good job.
How did you do that color match between the photos that you showed and then the cities?
It kind of just worked out, but I guess Adrian should.
I mean, do you hear me on the?
I'm not sure. Can you hear Adrian from over
Yes,
there?
it'd be better if he comes closer.
Also, what was the question?
And then I guess.
What? We missed it. What was the question?
Kosa was asking how I matched the colors of the original scenes with the 3D background. And I guess it happened intuitively. Like I imported the 3D into After Effects and it kind of matched. And then I tried some curves to play with the brightness and I tried to make the shadows more blue to match the 3D. But it kind of didn't work out and I just left it as it was because it was the best. Kind of. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you for coming.
I have a question, sorry. Hello. Guys, first of all, well done. It looks really cool. And the backgrounds and the characters, and I really like the 2D animated eyes and the mustache. I wanted to ask, which software did you use for the final editing, the compositing?
We did it in After Effects.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's all.
And for the 3D, was it Blender?
Blender.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. And wait for the.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.